Yeah, it's always nice to know how serial killers died. Fuck it. Give you a subscription. Yes, sir.
When the switch was thrown in Florida State Prison's electric chair on January 24, 1989, Ted Bundy finally faced what no courtroom or escape could delay: the end of his control and life. In the days before his execution, Bundy was calm and cooperative. He spent hours with investigators, confessing to more than 30 murders committed between 1974 and 1978.
Damn.
Though most believed the real number was even higher. He offered excruciating detail, but not remorse.
Yeah, he was fucking reminiscing in it. He was probably happy with delight telling them everything that he did. Nasty motherfucker.
Saving what he knew as bargaining chips he would never get to spend. At 7:06 a.m., Bundy was escorted into the execution chamber. Witnesses included officers, journalists, and relatives of victims. After he was strapped into the wooden chair, electrodes were fixed to his leg and scalp. His final words were simple: "Give my love to my family and friends." When the current hit, 2,000 volts surged through his body for nearly a minute.
God
the
damn.
smell of burning material filled the room.
Did
At
they not wet the
7:16
sponge?
a.m., a prison physician pronounced him dead. He was 42 years old.
I never was a fan of the electric chair. I'm more of a fan of the guillotine, the hanging, or what was the one? It's brutal. Maybe that's the reason why I can't think of it. I'm just gonna move on.
Outside, a crowd of 2,000 people celebrated, waving signs, lighting fireworks, and chanting, "Burn, Bundy, burn." The man who once manipulated judges, juries, and victims was finally gone. Jeffrey Dahmer wasn't executed by the state, but his death did come from inside the prison walls.
You got
By
shanked,
1994,
bitch.
Dahmer was serving a 16-life sentence at Columbia Correctional Institution in Wisconsin for taking the lives of 17 men and boys between 1978 and 1991. In prison, he kept a low profile.
That's wild, bro. That's a lot of people to be disappearing around this motherfucker and nobody really noticing.
But occasionally made dark jokes about his crimes, angering other inmates. On November 28, 1994, Dahmer was assigned to clean a prison gym bathroom with 2 other inmates, Christopher Scarver and Jesse Anderson. The men were left unsupervised for about 10 minutes. When guards
That's 10,000% planned, probably. The guards were in on that shit. They had to have been. They just happened to disappear for like 10 minutes.
returned, Dahmer was found on the floor with severe head wounds. Anderson was also critically injured. Scarver later told officers he'd used a metal bar from exercise equipment to commit the act and claimed he was acting under divine orders. Dahmer was taken to a nearby hospital, but
Or he was just some crazy ass. He's just crazy ass inmate, fellow inmate. Beat his ass. Alright.
was gone an hour later. The official cause was clearly blunt force trauma. He was 34 years old. His body was cremated per his request. His brain initially preserved for study, but later destroyed after his parents disagreed about its fate. John Wayne
Fuck your
Gacy's
parents. We need
execution
it for
didn't go as
science.
planned, and when there was a problem with the IV, his end lasted much longer than.
Oh, is that the dude where they strapped him down but strapped him too tight, ejected his ass, and got up and started doing a rampage? Excuse me. I need to blow my nose. Alright, I'm back. I had to blow my nose. Sorry about that. Let's figure this out.
Intended. He spent the day in prayer with a Catholic priest, and for his last meal had a bucket of KFC chicken, French fries, fried shrimp, strawberries, and a Diet Coke. Not a Coke, a Diet Coke.
I can forgive the Diet Coke, but bro, you had to get a steak on there, bro. Put a fucking New York strip or a fucking chuck guy roast. Some shit, dude. You got. I fuck with the shrimp and the chicken and the fries. Not the. I don't really fuck with strawberries. They're not as sweet as they look. I don't know. It's just, man. People keep saying I had them out of season or something. They weren't ripe. I don't know. Every time I have a fucking strawberry, it's not sweet. They don't sweet. It just tastes bitter as fuck. Back to it.
And as he prepared for execution, he couldn't bring himself to risk the sugar. Outside the prison, crowds gathered to celebrate the end
Diabetes is a serious affliction.
of a man who had taken the lives of 33 young men and boys. Shortly after midnight, Gacy was strapped to a gurney in the execution chamber. He appeared calm and even joked with guards. His last reported words were, "Kiss my ass." 2 IV lines were
I can fuck with that. Later, world. Kiss my ass.
inserted to deliver a 3-chemical sequence meant to end his life within minutes. But before the injection began, something went wrong. One of the tubes clogged, forcing a delay of about 10 to 18 minutes as technicians scrambled to fix the line and find a new vein. Gacy remained awake, restrained on the table. Witnesses described the scene as tense and awkward, with reporters later saying it was a botched performance, comparing it to an amateur surgical procedure. When the flow resumed, he closed his eyes and went quiet. At 12:58 a.m., a prison official pronounced him dead. He was 52 years old. His brain was later removed for study. Nothing special.
They just. They always want to look at the brain. See why? See how many wrinkles are different. They smooth brain. I can see that they're looking for defects that might actually contribute. They can look into other people and see if they can find that common denominator. Oh well.
Was found. Eileen Wuornos begged the state to execute her. She met.
I got the rope right here. But anyways, I need to watch videos on each of these murderers or serial killers. I only know like a few of them.
Meant it too, and they accommodated. By her final day, she had spent more than a decade on death row for taking the lives of 7 men in 1989 and 1990. Her final years were filled with erratic behavior and conspiracy claims. In a letter to the court, she wrote, "I'm competent. Let me have my execution." She fired her attorneys, accused prison staff of treating her improperly, and told reporters she believed the government wanted her dead. In her last days, she declined a final meal and instead requested a simple cup of coffee. On the morning of October
I wonder if she had extra cream and sugar.
9th, 2002, she walked calmly into the execution chamber. Witnesses say she appeared emotionless as she was strapped to the gurney. When asked if she had any final words, she said, "I'll be back," like Independence Day, with
That's fucking creepy, bro. I'll be back to fuck with you some more. Let's get it over with. That's stupid.
Jesus, June 6th, like the movie. Big mothership and all. I'll be back. Whatever the heck that means. At 9:47 a.m., the lethal injection began. Within minutes, her breathing slowed, her eyes closed, and doctors confirmed she had passed at 9:53 a.m. She was 46 years old. Richard Ramirez, known as the Night Stalker, never made it to the gas chamber. Something else got to him first. He received a capital sentence in 1989 for 13 fatal attacks across California in the mid-1980s. But the appeals process dragged on for years. During that time, life for Richard Ramirez could have been worse. He got married to a journalist who had written to him in prison and continued to receive letter after letter.
Alright, they need to look into that bitch. Like, I'm sorry, if you fall in love with someone that's on death row and it's a serial killer, you fucking insane. I don't know. I guess I'm not looking at the bigger picture here.
From fawning admirers. Then, in 2013, Ramirez's health sharply declined. He had been diagnosed with B-cell lymphoma, a form of cancer. The
Damn.
disease spread quickly to his liver and lymph nodes, causing liver failure and secondary infections. He also suffered from chronic hepatitis C and other complications from decades of his illicit substance abuse. He was transferred to a hospital facility within the prison system, where his condition worsened still. He developed bed sores, chronic fatigue, and severe jaundice. Those who saw him near the end said he looked decades older than his age, with a waxy
Well, I guess that's karma coming back on his ass faster. I guess he deserved it for what he did.
complexion, thinning hair, and a hollow face. At 9:10 a.m. on June 7th, 2013,
That dude, he kind of looked like that SCP character, the one that if you look at his face, he'll come and kill you, chase you down for wherever you're at. I can't think of the number of
a
them.
hollow face. At 9:10 a.m. on June 7th, 2013, Richard Ramirez passed away from liver failure secondary to lymphoma. He was 53 years old. No family members claimed his body. Compared to his larger-than-life fame and legacy, Charles Manson's passing was pretty uneventful. By then, he had spent nearly 50 years in prison, serving multiple life sentences for orchestrating the 1969 Tate LaBianca incident.
Well, wasn't he a known test subject for the MK Ultra program? Yeah. If I remember correctly, he was in the same prison system that they abducted people for their experiments of LSD and weird shit. Back in the 60s and 70s, the 50s, things were weird. They had Nazis and weird ideas and shit going around back there. And cocaine and LSD. Quaaludes as well. So there was a lot of weird shit going on. I feel like the government had their fingers in something.
He was one of the oldest inmates in the California prison system. In early 2017, Manson's health began to decline. He was hospitalized several times for intestinal bleeding and other complications. Doctors determined that he had advanced colon cancer and failing organs, but he was too weak for surgery. In his final days, he was moved under guard from Corcoran State Prison to a hospital ward, where he remained conscious but frail. Staff described him as quiet and largely unresponsive. There were no official last words. At 8:13 p.m. on November 19, 2017, Charles Manson had passed away from cardiac arrest, with respiratory failure and metastatic cancer listed as contributing causes. He was 83 years old.
Damn.
His body was later cremated after several people fought over his remains, including
I bet you motherfucker want to taxiderm it. Alright, let's figure out. Now are they going to dissect his brain? Or they want to taxiderm his body and put it somewhere?
his grandson and another man who claimed to be his son. After 12 years of terror and 2 years of trial, Andre Chikatilo's passing lasted.
The drawing of the dude's fucking accurate as shit. But bro, look at that.
12 years of terror.
You can't look at that and tell me that motherfucker would not stab you. Shit, he'd probably eat you. What do you do?
And 2 years of trial, Andre Chikatilo's passing lasted less than a second. This Russian madman had been convicted of 52 fatal attacks committed between 1978 and 1990. In court, he often ranted, laughed, and even exposed himself to the jury. But once he was found guilty and sentenced, he quieted down and kept it in his pants.
Huh?
He spent his final months.
He found out real quick. Like, you can't do shit to me. Death. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you put a little shit on my lip right there.
In solitary confinement at Novicherkassk prison, calmed and detached, rarely speaking to prison guards. On the morning of February 14, 1994, he was taken from his cell without warning, likely not knowing that this day would be his last. Russian officials at the time gave no advance notice of the execution date. And after his appeals were exhausted, he was led to a small soundproof room and ordered to kneel. A barrel was placed to the back of his head and bang! No more Andre Chikatilo.
Honestly, I feel like that's the best kind of execution, instant to the back of the dome. You don't have that gas chambers bullshit. You don't got the lethal injection bullshit. You don't got the electric chair. Just short, sweet, fucking all natural, fucking 9 millimeter lead through the dome. Best way.
He was 57 years old. There were no witnesses, other than the officials there and, of course, the man that did the deed. Chikatilo's body was buried in an unmarked grave, its
Russia.
location withheld by the state, so no one really knows where he is.
They don't
Albert
even know.
Fish had been convicted of taking the life.
That information was fucking flushed down the toilet when the Soviet Union fell. Probably doesn't. They probably didn't even record it. They just like popped him in the head, threw him in a mass grave, and moved on with life. This is probably gonna be a sick motherfucker.
Life of a 10-year-old girl he lured from her home, a crime that exposed a lifetime of other horrific behavior. Fish claimed his acts were commanded by God and told psychiatrists he expected execution to bring him salvation. The state would accommodate with the execution. The salvation was out of their hands. In his last evening on Earth, at Sing Sing Prison in Ossining, New York on January 16, 1936, he appeared calm as guards led him to the electric chair. Witnesses noted that he even helped the executioner fasten his own straps and
What a gentleman! I really want this, bud.
showed no fear. When asked for final words, he reportedly said, "I don't even know why I'm here," though the reason was pretty clear to everyone there. At 11:06 p.m.,
Bro, he was probably fucking psychotic. 100%.
the first current was applied. The voltage surged in multiple cycles, each lasting about 30 to 60 seconds, and was repeated. He was no longer living 3 minutes later. The execution reportedly required 2 jolts to complete, though officials never confirmed whether that was due to technical issues or his body's reaction. The doctor who examined him afterwards described his passing as instantaneous, though some witnesses believed it took longer than usual. His body was buried in Potter's.
They probably didn't have enough wattage, so it just fucked them up. I don't know. I'm not an electrician. I don't know all that stuff. So, I don't know.
Field on Hart Island, New York, as it was unclaimed. When the noose was hung around H.H. Holmes' neck and the trap door opened beneath him, the crowd thought it was over. It wasn't. Holmes had spent years deceiving and defrauding anyone who crossed his path. In Chicago during the 1890s, he built a 3-story maze of rooms and hidden chambers, later called
I like this dude. He has that flavor of psychotic that it makes it movies great.
the Murder Castle, where several people who entered were never seen again. He was finally caught for taking the life of a business associate during an insurance scam. On the morning of his execution, he had eaten eggs and dry toast.
I wonder if they have a movie about this dude. They should. I think they do. I don't know. Either way, they need to make one, a modern one. It'd be nice.
And thanked the guards for their courtesy. When asked for final words, he calmly denied any wrongdoing, claiming responsibility for only 2 accidental mishaps. No one believed him. On May 7, 1896,
Hey, he kept it real. He kept his story straight. He didn't admit to shit. He said, it was an accident, bro. I didn't kill them on purpose. It was an accident. That's a motherfucker that will keep his mouth shut.
at Moyamensing Prison in
Well, he won't
Philadelphia,
incriminate himself.
a noose was tied around his neck and the trap door fell. But it failed to break his neck cleanly, and he slowly lost his breath. Witness
They didn't put enough knots on that bitch. Hey, that's one way I don't want to go. Choking, drowning, nope. Being on fire, nope. It just sounds like terrible.
Said he didn't flinch or struggle, just hung motionless as if waiting for something. He hanged there for nearly 20 minutes before doctors finally confirmed there was no longer a pulse. What came next, Holmes had planned for. He requested that his body be buried 10 feet underground in a coffin encased in cement to prevent anyone from digging him up. The prison, for some reason, granted the request, sealing him beneath layers of concrete.
That's cool. Like, alright. He's like, yeah, sure, whatever, buddy.
When his grave was exhumed more than a century later for DNA testing, his mustache was still intact.
The fucking mustache, bro. The mustache and the beard are the two golden things that will never be damaged throughout time. The glorious mustache, the glorious beard.
Harold Shipman was a respected family doctor in England for decades, known for his calm manner and spotless record. By the time he was caught in 1998, investigators believed that he had taken the lives of more than 200 of his patients, making him one of the most prolific life-takers in modern history. He had used his medical position to administer lethal doses of painkillers, often signing the death certificates himself.
That's fucking wild. That's genius, bro. You can easily get away with that, especially in his position. Smart, crazy dude. Those are the ones you would be scared of.
He was convicted in 2000 for taking the lives of 15 people and sentenced to life imprisonment with no possibility of release at Wakefield Prison. On the morning of January 13, 2004, guards found him hanging in his cell. He had torn a bed sheet into strips and tied it to the bars of his window.
I don't like that. Excuse me. I don't like that. That's a bitch way to go. You rage quit in life, bitch. Damn, I got indigestion. But you rage quit in life, bitch. You played this character to this point, and then you gonna rage quit? Fuck out of here.
He was 57 years old. Shipman left no note. Prison staff later said he had shown no signs of distress or mental illness. Some speculated that he timed his passing to spare his wife the loss of his pension, which might have been revoked had he lived beyond his 60th birthday. When guards finally checked Elizabeth
That could be not. That was nice of him, I guess, if that's true. Looking out for the wifey.
Bathory's cell on August 21st, 1614, she was lying on the floor, cold and still. After 4 years of isolation, even her jailers weren't sure when she'd stopped breathing. Known in legend as the Blood Countess, Bathory was accused of committing terrible acts on scores of young girls at her castle in Hungary between 1590 and 1610. The true number of victims.
If I remember correctly, there was a documentary about this bitch. There is speculation that she was cruel, but a lot of it was probably could have been rumors because she was due to inherit a lot of land. And you know what that means at that time. So this one, I'll get it with a grain of salt.
Victims remains uncertain. Official records mention around 80, but later accounts claim it to be into the hundreds. In 1610, King Matthias II ordered her arrest. Unlike her accomplices who were executed, Bathory was never tried. Instead, she was imprisoned for life inside Catchtis Castle, bricked into a small set of rooms where food was passed through an opening. Over the years, her health deteriorated. She reportedly expressed discontent with her confinement, likely worsened by cold, isolation, and lack of light. Poor girl. By 1614,
Yeah, that would suck, Dick. I don't like being confined. Maybe I might be claustrophobic, but that would suck. Just
she
kill
could
me.
no longer stand. One morning, she told a guard she felt unwell. By the next day, she was gone. She was 54 years old. Her body was buried in the castle ground.
And that's pretty well for that age. A lot of people usually die in their 20s and 30s.
Before being quietly moved to a family crypt, possibly to avoid vandalism. The woman, once accused of bathing in blood, died in total darkness, alone behind a wall. Ed Gein, despite taking the lives of 2 women and exhuming corpses from local graveyards, was never executed. You see, he had been declared legally insane and was committed to the Central State Hospital for the Criminally Insane in Waupun, Wisconsin.
We need to bring those hospitals back. We need to bring back insane asylums. Especially the way the world is today. We need to open up like fucking 300 of them, 2,000 of them, all across America. We ain't trying to treat them, we just containing them. Contain, secure, whatever the fuck it is. We just containing the crazy people. We ain't doing no electrical shock therapy, experimental drugs. Nope, nope. You just get your vitamins, your food, and you pet the furry wall. You stay out of society. You can't be in society.
Later transferred to the Mendota Mental Health Institute. In July 1984, Gein was admitted to St. Mary's Hospital after suffering respiratory problems and weight loss. Doctors diagnosed lung cancer that had spread throughout his body. His condition worsened quickly. For several weeks, he was kept under observation, often sedated and drifting in and out of awareness. Nurses describe him as polite but mostly silent, occasionally whispering short answers when spoken to. He died there on July 26, 1984, at age 77, from respiratory failure secondary to cancer.
That's fucked. Not being able to breathe is fucked.
Ed Gein went into the ground the normal way for once. He was buried in Plainfield Cemetery beside his mother. His grave marker was later stolen and vandalized repeatedly before being permanently removed.
That's fucked.
So which of these do you think served the most poetic justice? And which do you think got off easy? Tell us what you think in the comments. And if you're still around, give us a like and subscribe to the channel to get notified about more videos like this in the future. Thanks for watching.
Dude.
See you next time.
That's interesting. I definitely need to start looking up the serial killers and what they did. Because some of these people, I didn't even know who the fuck they were. Just being real with you.